Some women do not chase, and yet, they are never forgotten. Their absence haunts like a shadow, their silence resounds louder than any cry, and the man who once believed he held her in his grasp finds himself bewildered, staring into the mirror of his own emptiness. He was drawn to her not by chance but by compulsion. For the narcissistic man, the empath is the silent stage upon which his fragmented ego can perform. She listens, she absorbs, she becomes the vessel of his projection. To him, she is not a woman, she is the mirror of his hunger, the reflection of his fractured self, but archetypes have their own destiny, and Jung reminds us that the shadow, once seen, cannot be unseen. What begins as seduction becomes revelation. What begins as control collapses into exposure. And here, the empath shifts. At first, she played her role unknowingly. She mistook manipulation for intimacy, mistook control for passion, mistook his need for love. His language was covert. Hints, tones, silences designed to confuse. He believed she was blind. But the empath is not blind. She sees in ways he cannot imagine. Where he hides behind masks, she traces the tremor in his voice, the flicker in his eyes, the hunger in his pauses. Slowly, she begins to translate the language of his shadow. And the moment she understands, the balance shifts. Imagine a grand ballroom where two figures dance. One leads with arrogance, convinced the other follows without question. Yet as the music plays, the follower begins to anticipate every move, every step, every concealed intention. Soon, the leader realizes he is no longer leading at all, the dance has transformed. This is the moment the narcissist begins to fear the empath. For she no longer absorbs, she reflects. She no longer bends, she witnesses. The narcissist senses it first as unease. His words, once sharp, now dull against her silence. His manipulation, once invisible, now trembles under her gaze. He wonders, has she changed? Or has she simply awakened? Here, trauma psychology reveals its paradox. For the empath, pain is not just suffering, it is data. Every wound becomes a map, every scar a translation. What once entrapped her now educates her. And he cannot escape the knowledge that she has learned his tongue. She stops explaining herself. She no longer rushes to soothe his storms. She smiles faintly at the games, as though reading a book she has already finished. To him, her silence is unbearable. To her, it is freedom. He shouts louder, but she does not flinch. He withholds affection, but she no longer starves. He threatens abandonment, but she has already let go. The man who once believed himself the hunter now feels hunted, by his own reflection in her eyes. The Stoics spoke of inner citadels, fortresses of the soul that no tyrant can conquer. And the empath, through suffering, discovers hers. She realizes she cannot control his shadows, but she can command her own. Detachment is not indifference. It is power. It is the serene recognition that another's chaos need not become her cage. This revelation terrifies the narcissist more than confrontation. For he thrives on reaction, on drama, on entanglement, and she has withdrawn from the stage. In Jungian terms, the narcissist projected his anima, his unlived feminine, onto her. He saw her not as she was, but as the echo of his lost wholeness. But when she ceased to carry his projection, he was forced to face the void within himself. And the empath, once entangled in his illusion, discovers her animus, the inner masculine that grants her boundaries, clarity, and will. She is no longer only feeling, she is also discernment. No longer only giving, she is also guard. The polarity has shifted that he now oscillates between fury and longing. One moment he seeks to punish, the next to reclaim. He tries the old tactics, guilt, charm, silence, rage. But she has grown fluent in his language, and every word he utters exposes him further. The empath has become what he cannot bear, a mirror that does not distort. It is the myth of Persephone rewritten. Once dragged into the underworld, she now walks out with pomegranate seeds in her hand, symbols of knowledge, not chains. The narcissist remains in darkness, clutching illusions, while she steps into the upper world with new eyes. The archetypal woman who returns from shadow is no longer prey, she is oracle. Her empowerment is subtle, quiet, almost invisible. She does not declare victory, nor does she seek revenge. She simply ceases to participate. Where he expects reaction, she offers calm. Where he seeks chaos, she offers distance. Where he demands possession, she offers absence. And in this absence, he unravels. For the empath, individuation has begun. She integrates her shadow, the part of her that once needed to heal others, the part that confused sacrifice with love. She no longer abandons herself for the sake of his hunger. She belongs to herself now. Carl Jung taught that awareness changes the world by changing the individual. And this woman, once a stage for his drama, has stepped off and begun to write her own script. Picture her walking away, not in anger, not in bitterness, but in silence. Her footsteps echo, not as retreat but as liberation. He calls, but she does not turn. He threatens, but she does not tremble. He pleads, but she does not pause. For she has seen behind the mask, and once truth is seen, illusion has no power. The woman who walks away in silence is not weak. She simply sees more. When the empath learns the narcissist's language, the game ends. She realizes her silence cuts deeper than his words, and her detachment runs deeper than his hunger. No longer trapped in his mirror, she ascends as the sovereign of her own inner world. Remember this. The woman who walks away in silence is not weak, she has simply seen everything.